Hey, Dr. Tom with you today, and I want to talk to you about money. Show me the money! Remember the famous Tom Cruise line from the Jerry Maguire movie? No, seriously, folks, we're going to talk about abundance consciousness. This is a really important construct on the journey towards expressing your most authentic self to the world, running the business that you love. Because businesses, by their nature, are designed to be profitable. If they're not profitable, they're not called a business, they're called a non-profit, right? And there's a difference. So there's nothing wrong with being profitable. But one of the reasons we have found 20 plus years of coach consulting work that people do not grow their business to the height that they could is because of their scarcity consciousness. So let's talk about money and let's see what's really going on here with the concept of money. As the module clearly pointed out, money is really just energy. Matter of fact, all physical things on planet Earth are just energy. I mean, Einstein proved this back in the early 1900s when he said that E equals mc squared, or energy and matter or mass are interchangeable the closer you get to the speed of light squared. So it's hard to remember sometimes that all of this stuff is just energy, but in fact it truly is. And so is money. It is just another form of energy. Another important construct to remember about money is really just a form of exchange. In the old days, we used to barter all the time, right? So I would be a chicken farmer and I'd want to have some wheat to make bread. So I'd round up a bunch of chickens and I'd run them off to the market, and then they'd be squawking and squealing and I'd be trying to maintain order. And then I'd go and try and find, somebody that sold wheat. And, then we would haggle and barter and trying to figure out how many chickens are worth how much wheat. And it was not a very efficient system. So money, which started out as a gold standard and then translated into the dollar standard, it became that way because, quite simply, it's more efficient and effective to have an intermediary than it is to try and figure out, how many chickens are worth a thing of wheat or whatever, okay? The other really important thing it allowed us to do in the world of commodities, it allowed us to stockpile energy. Okay, because again, if you look at that grain farmer, he really had to plant and then, nurture and then harvest in the fall. And so we might have all kinds of money, if you will, from his commodity called grain in the fall. But then what happened when he went to try and stockpile that so that he could feed his children in the winter and the spring? Well, maybe the grain would go moldy. And so he didn't have the ability to stockpile the energy of the grain. And that's what money allowed us to do, is to create this intermediary that allowed people to stockpile the energy of their product or service rather than just have it on a purely liquid basis, okay? The other really important thing to remember about money or about abundance is that it really is a representation of what we call human life value. Think about the energy, mentally, emotionally, and or physically, that the men and women put into in order to create this product or service, right? It's a phenomenal thing when you think about it. It's just a representation of that human life value. And that gets me excited and fired up because I love people. I love the human mind. I love the human physiology and the physicalness of, and by loving money, I love really what it represents, which is the people and the human life value that created the product or service. That's what gets me jazzed about things. Now, several rules about money that you've probably ran across. If not, I want to be sure that you take ownership of these. One of the rules of money is that it goes where it's valued. If you think about money energetically like a little person, right? Why would someone go visit somebody if they weren't valued being there? Why would someone want to be a part of someone's life if they didn't feel valued? And money as an energetic signature is really just the same. Another part to that is money likes to be exchanged, okay? And so if you're not exchanging it for other things, then it doesn't like to flow. And if it doesn't flow, it doesn't flow to you, okay? Money also likes to be treated responsibly, right? Just like anything does. Again, it's hard. I know it's a bit of a stretch. It's a bit airy-fairy, new agey to think about money as an entity, as a little person, if you will. But energetically, that's truly what it is. And so if you think about people, they want to be treated responsibly. Money wants to be treated responsibly. It doesn't want to be, looked after carelessly. And, you've probably heard the example of personifying, the first dollar ever generated, or the nexus of all other dollars is old grandmother money. And if you said, hey, come on, can I take your kids and grandkids out to the park? And she goes, well, you be responsible. And you go, well, hell no, they can do what the hell they want. Jump out of the trees. I don't care. Go across the street. Grandmother money isn't letting their little ones come with you, right? So again, thinking about it this way, it takes a certain amount of responsibility in order to respond and look after and caretake for money as it should. As an extension of the second rule we talked about here, where money likes to flow, it also does not want to be hoarded. Okay, and I know it's an extension of, but it's quite a distinction. We're not saying you shouldn't save. We're saying you shouldn't hoard, because the intent behind hoarding is really about a scarcity consciousness, and there's never going to be enough. Again, think about money from an energetic standpoint. Energy is infinite. Energy is limitless. There is no limit to what we can identify as the energy of the universe. And if money is truly a part of that, which I know in my heart it is, then money is limitless. And you don't necessarily take something away from someone else because you have more. So again, as a result of that, you can lose your scarcity consciousness and create a savings program, but not hoard it, because that's a very different reality. Last thing, and arguably one of the most important lessons I ever learned from my mentors about money is just an amplifier. It's an amplifier. If you're a great person, you'll just be a greater person, with money. If you're an asshole, you'll just be a bigger asshole with money. The key distinction here is it's not the money. It's the person, right? So again, when you think about that, and here's a quick way to really solidify this for yourself, right? Do you know somebody without money that's a great person? Do you know somebody with money that's a great person? Do you know somebody without money that's an a-hole? Do you know somebody with money that's an a-hole? I'm going to bet you answered yes to all those questions. So what I just validated or affirmed to you is that in fact, it's not the money, it's the person. Money is just an amplifier of the character of the person. So again, Dr. Tom here, wanting to help you understand more about abundance consciousness and what it means to be a truly abundant person, because I believe in you. I believe in your dreams. I believe in your authentic greatness. I believe that the creative intelligence wants you to be rich, wants you, however you define that. And again, at this point, we're talking largely financially, although I'm sure everybody watching this video realizes that there's a whole lot more to being rich than just finances. But in this particular example, we're talking about money and finances when we're talking about abundance and living a rich life. When you are connected to and expressing from your most authentic self, in my opinion, you've got all of the creative intelligence with you. That gives you the opportunity now to have all of that power, wisdom, and creativity that is the creative intelligence on your side. From that place, anything's possible. Any amount of exchange, any amount of product and service exchange with the rest of the world is available to you, because it's a representation of the best that's within you. And as bright and talented and fabulous as you are, from an educated mind standpoint, I'll bet on the creative intelligence inside of you, or what I call innate intelligence, every time. So I hope you got some value from this video. I hope you are going to think through abundance consciousness, and you're going to no longer personify and say silly things like money is the root of all evil.